rankings. Be honest. If you know boxing, be honest. There's levels.
In the show, bro. It shows.
Really look
He's very sharp. That's all I can.
dangerous.
Very dangerous. Don't look like he's a 46.
He looks like he's 36 or 26.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis was stunned after seeing Manny Pacquiao's recent training session for the Barrios fight. Despite his age, Pacquiao looked unbelievably fast and powerful, tearing it up in gym. His footwork was on point, and his punches were sharp, proving he's still a serious force. He looked like he was back. People from Pacquiao's team said he looked just as explosive during sparring as he did in his younger years. His crew insists he hasn't slowed down one bit and still puts in work like a champion. One sparring partner said Manny pushed through 8 intense rounds, never losing his speed, precision, or power. Every punch landed clean, and his timing was perfect. They couldn't believe how fresh he looked the whole time. They say he's not just hanging in there, he's leading the action and shocking everyone with
Everybody is surprised, so it's gonna be a good fight.
What's the most impressive? His speed, his power, his footwork?
It's everything, because you don't see him slow down. People say he's slowing down, but he's not. I mean, that's where you're exactly going to be surprised, because he's sharp, really, to be honest with you. Very, very sharp. That's why I don't want to say anything else, but...
No, leave it at that.
You know,
but how...
I leave it that way, but...
Okay, so let me ask you this. In 11 days, he steps into the ring at the MGM in Las Vegas to fight Mario Barrios.
Yeah.
How does the fight end?
There's a chance of knockout.
Manny,
I can see that.
You can see a knockout?
I'm not going to say what round, but...
Just that Manny wins either way, knockout or decision.
Yeah. I don't think decision. Maybe. The decision is kind of... I don't know if it's going to distance, really. Because the way
Manny's
I
that
see
explosive.
everything is... I don't know.
Okay, now let's talk about his son, Jim, for a second. How talented is his son?
He's a very good fighter. You know, he's
Good
going
power.
there.
I've seen him knock people out.
Yeah, he's but power. You know, but right now he's still. You know, we want him to grow more. You know, so to be ready. Actually, he's ready already. So we just want it to work in silence. We keep it down.
What's your message to all Pacquiao fans who are watching this, who are getting ready, who are excited for Manny Pacquiao Barrios, July 19, Las Vegas?
Tune in to this coming fight, because it's gonna be a very good fight.
Don't go to the kitchen. Don't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Don't look at your phone.
Yes,
because it can happen.
Focus on that, because I know Mario Barrios also is training hard too. Manny also, he trained like there's no tomorrow.
Roy Jones Jr. is confident Pacquiao can still grab another world title. While some worry about his age and time off, Jones says Manny's heart, experience, and determination put him in a different category. According to Jones, Pacquiao isn't like most fighters. He's cut from a different cloth. He believes Manny still has the focus, drive, and skills to fight at the top level. Jones says you can tell by the way Pacquiao trains that he's not doing this for show.
I would not be able to take credit for beating Pacquiao after he got knocked out by Marquez, because that's not the same Pacquiao.
Of course.
That's not the Pacquiao at the top of his game.
Yeah, of course.
But in society today, we'll call that person the best fighter ever.
Of course.
When that's not how that goes. That's not reality. But in the business world, it is, because look how much money he made.
Here we go. Who's greater than me? I said, Sugar Ray Robinson. He said, Sugar Ray Robinson, how many wins he got? I said, he got like over 150 wins. He stopped for a minute. He said, but who got more championship titles, me or him? I said, hold on, Floyd. He said, answer the question. I said, Floyd, there's more titles now than then. There was just one then. That's no fair. Answer the question. I said, okay, you. Do I not have 28 titles? And I was just like, I don't know. He said, oh, you're supposed to be the expert. But the reason why I said that is because there's minor and major titles. Who else greater than me? I say Henry Armstrong, Roberto Duran. He said, oh my God. He said, you said something about Pacquiao. Yeah, I said, I think you'll beat Pacquiao every day of the week, but I think he had a greater career. He said, you ain't think Pacquiao was on steroids? I said, he didn't fail any tests, Floyd. He said, look at me in my eyes. I can't say, man, he didn't fail. He said, oh man, you failed. I saw that as a initiation. This is what you about to get. Nobody's greater than Floyd. My thing is, he should feel that way, but you can't expect everybody to feel that you're the greatest, Floyd.
Mario Barrios has said it loud and clear. He respects Pacquiao as a person, but all that goes out the window once they're in the ring. He admits Pacquiao is a legend, but come fight night, he sees him as just another rival standing in his way. Once the bell rings, he says there's no room for feelings, just business. He's preparing to face Pacquiao like any top challenger and plans to fight hard to protect his title. Barrios' attitude shows he's taking...
ever since the fight was announced, I think initially I was kind of just like shocked. Like, man, dude, like Pacquiao wants to fight me, right? He wants to fight me for my title. I think for the sport of boxing and I think just sports in general, like Manny is that name. When you think about boxing, right? He's somebody that comes to mind. At least for me, like I've been watching him since I was, again, since my earliest memories of boxing. Manny has been a name that's like, okay, like he's the man. And yeah, now he wants to come out of retirement. He wants to fight me for my title. I can't look at it as anything other than, it's just another opponent trying to take what's mine. He's outside the ring. I have, nothing but respect for him, nothing but respect for everything he's accomplished, for the person he is, everything he does, for his country and more. But as soon as we step in the ring, he's in there trying to take what's mine. I'm not training with the mentality, that I'm getting ready, to fight an icon, fight a legend. At the end of the day, he's just another man, trying to fight for my title. He's going in there trying to, take my title, and I got to do whatever it takes to make sure he does.
Brian Mendoza gave Pacquiao his due, calling him one of the greats, but he also pointed out that no one can beat time forever. He said that while Manny still has impressive speed and reflexes as the rounds go on, his body might start to show signs of wear. Mendoza reminded fans that it's exciting to see legends come back, but they also need to be realistic. Older fighters often struggle to keep up in long, tough fights where youth plays a big part.
Don't say that before the interview.
I don't. This is an unbiased opinion.
Man, I'm looking forward to it, even just as a boxing fan, obviously coming up, there's always, seeing Pacquiao's fights and stuff, and now to see the homie, going up against him like that, it's wild, man. It's a wild feeling. I know you're more so for him, but nah, man, I think at the end of the day, I feel like, the age will show up in the fight. I think at first, he's had, people talk about the layoff, but it's also a rest for someone at that age. So I feel like he's going to be rested. I feel like we might see, hints of little old Manny, no pun intended, but old Manny. Little bits of flashes of that in there, but I think at the end of the day, man, Mario's super sharp. This is the sharpest I've ever seen him, this far in camp. I'm super excited, bro, and he's gonna put on a great show. I still kind of lean towards like a decision, but regardless, it's Mario's way. If there is a stoppage, I think it'll be in like the second half. Like I said, because I think that's really when the age is gonna show, because you can look good in the gym, man, but once those bright lights are on you, anything that's wrong will come out. So as much of a legend man he is, I think he bit off a little more than he can chew with Barrios.
Even with the age factor in play, a lot of fans still think Pacquiao's got what it takes. His latest training footage has gotten people talking, with many saying he still looks fierce and strong enough to handle younger fighters. Supporters argue that Pacquiao's unorthodox style, constant motion, and smart tactics have always been his weapons. And those don't disappear overnight. There's a lot of energy behind his return, powered by belief in his skills and ability to adapt. 7. Boxing analysts believe Pacquiao needs to start fast and fight smart right from the bell. Knowing he might slow down in the later rounds, they suggest he take control early using his speed and experience. By setting the tone in the beginning, he can stay ahead and avoid draining his energy too soon. The goal is to capitalize on Barrios.
Manny Pacquiao returns to the ring against a young fighter, champion WBC, Mario Barrios. How do you see that fight playing out?
Barrios is a tall guy and he's a tough guy. You know, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because Pacquiao is champion, the holder of the records of 8 divisions, and he knows how to fight, he knows how to win. So you always got to give it that opportunity for him to show up. And now whoever shows up in that ring, whether it's a desire to win or just try to be there, that's a question that we have to see. But I believe that he has the ability to do something to win the fight against Barrios.
Some people think Barrios' defensive style could actually hurt him when facing someone as aggressive as Pacquiao. Many believe Manny's fast combinations and ring movement can break through his guard. Critics say Barrios still has some defensive holes that a sharp veteran like Pacquiao can take advantage of. If Manny stays focused and avoids taking early damage, he could turn up the heat in the later rounds.
I was talking to somebody about Manny coming back fighting Mario Barrios.
Ouch.
And this was the analogy I gave. Your timing is just, it slows down. That's time. Time slows you down. And so to me, I think Manny has to come out very strong, very fast in the first couple of rounds because his gas tank ain't what it used to be. At 46 years old, you come out and let's just say hypothetically your gas is half full at 46 years old. I'd rather try to use that half tank
when I got something
in 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And really get off on this kid because he has the kind of style. Styles make fights. He's got the perfect style for Manny to do what he do. But the further that fight goes, the more that's gonna go down. He ain't young no more when it does this. It ain't gonna do this no more. It ain't gonna go down and then come back up. He not gonna create space, take a deep breath, and that thing shoot up the way it used to. He ain't gonna do that, you know?
There are still doubts about whether Barrios is truly ready for high-level opponents, especially since he's been stopped before by fighters who might not even hit as hard or fast as Pacquiao. Experts admit Barrios is tough, but he hasn't proven himself against the best. That gives Manny a real chance to take control, especially if he keeps the pressure high and forces Barrios into unfamiliar territory. Many believe Pacquiao can win, as long as he sticks with a smart and steady plan.
Pacquiao Barrios, bro. Who do you like?
It's hard to know, at the age of Pacquiao, what we're going to get from him, But I'll tell you this. Depending on his conditioning, right? Depending on how much he can pop in on that instep that he brought to me, that notorious fast instep. If he can pop in that instep, and if Pacquiao can get in, I know he can hurt Mario Barrios. Defense of Mario Barrios is still suspect. He is willing to get caught. You can catch the kid. It's not hard to find.
Experts say that if age wasn't in the picture, Pacquiao would easily be seen as the favorite. Even now, they believe his fundamentals are solid, and his boxing IQ is still top-notch. They feel he has the advantage if he can tap into the kind of movement and punch output he had during his peak. One big talking point has been how sharp he's looked in training. Those around him say he's throwing quick combinations, moving around the ring with ease, and lasting long rounds without tiring, just like old times.
Are you cool with Pacquiao against Mario Barrios?
I am. I'm cool with it. If I was cool with Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting Keith Thurman, I'm definitely going to be cool with this one. Barrios is not a puncher. Thurman was one of the biggest punchers in boxing. I think he's going to be just fine with Mario Barrios, who we know what he is on the top level. He comes up short. He's been stopped by fighters that are less than Manny Pacquiao, Tank Davis. So I like this fight. I think he's not going to be an overwhelming favorite, but I think it'll be a 50-50 fight, regardless of his inactivity and age. His explosiveness, even at this age, his greatness, and the fact that you can never know what Barrios you're going to get. And yeah, man, I like this fight. Why not? Nostalgia, marketable. Everyone will be behind him. It'll be internationally successful. I'm in.
How are you comparing Pacquiao coming back this summer at 46 after not fighting in 5 years to Pacquiao in 2019 fighting Keith Thurman, which came after back-to-back wins over Lucas Batiste and Adrian Broner? That Those two scenarios could not be more different.
Brian Mendoza gave Pacquiao his due, calling him one of the greats, but he also pointed out that no one can beat time forever. He said that while Manny still has impressive speed and reflexes as the rounds go on, his body might start to show signs of wear. Mendoza reminded fans that it's exciting to see legends come back, but they also need to be realistic. Older fighters often struggle to keep up in long, tough fights where youth plays a big part.
So former 8 Division World Champion, now Hall of Famer, Manny Pacquiao is now gearing up to take on welterweight champion Mario Barrios. And this is going to be an interesting fight. Now, I see a lot of people talking about Pacquiao saying that he's a former shell of himself, which he probably is. But make no mistake, 60% Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat on a lot of these young guys. Now, people were talking about Mario Barrios because he beat Udonis Ugas, someone who beat Manny Pacquiao last time out. But styles make fights, and this training footage of Manny Pacquiao training, I don't know. I think Barrios might be in for a long night, especially given his last time out with Ramos.
You ain't lying.
Paulie Malignaggi raised a good point. He wonders if Pacquiao can keep up that pace for the whole fight. He admitted that Manny looks fantastic in training, but said older fighters don't recover like younger ones do. Malignaggi said that even well-conditioned veterans often hit a wall in the late rounds, especially when their legs start to weaken. Still, he added that Pacquiao is unlike...
What do you think about, Manny's decision and obviously getting thrown right into a title shot?
When you get older, your legs are not the same. You may have very good legs for a few rounds, but as you drag out a long fight, your legs start to betray you. I felt that later in my career. I would get into shape, but now all of a sudden, around 10, 11, 12, my legs are dragging ass, bro. Pacquiao, having not fought in a while, 46 years old, a lot of tough fights, a lot of wear and tear on Manny Pacquiao. But Manny had 70 plus pro fights. And he wasn't a defensive specialist. A lot of impact, a lot of back and forth impact. He's 46, he had a lot of heavy wear and tear into his late 30s and early 40s. So how are his legs gonna be? That's my biggest thing, because I think, Manny was a range-changing fighter. He was he was that style, in and out. He's not a pocket guy. And an in-and-out guy needs his legs, and needs his legs the whole fight. Unless he lands something big. I will say, I think Mario Barrios. I think he sucks.
Barrios pointed out that a lot of great fighters have tried to beat Father Time and failed. He thinks Pacquiao might face the same outcome, especially if the fight turns into a long, drawn-out battle. Barrios believes his youth and stamina give him a big edge, and history shows older fighters usually get caught in the later rounds. There's also some doubt about whether Manny still has his old knockout power. Critics say while his shots might land clean, Barrios is young and tough enough to take them and keep moving. If Manny wants...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Manny Pacquiao will actually be fighting Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title. If this man comes back and beats Barrios, which, if I'm being totally honest, I don't think he's winning this fight even remotely. I think he could actually get stopped, in my opinion. It's not because Manny's not great or nothing. He's one of the greatest of all time. You could argue that he is the greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? 8th division champion. But he's just too old, man. This man is 46 years of age. If he wins this fight, he ties Bernard Hopkins' record for the oldest champion in boxing. That would be crazy, but if I'm being honest, I just don't see him winning. I see him getting stopped, dropped and stopped, if I'm being honest. He was having trouble with Ampo, bro. And Ampo not even a boxer, he a kickboxer. And yeah, I just don't think he'll, I just think he's too old, if I'm being honest. I just think he's too old to win the title. But let me know what y'all think down below, man.
In an interesting twist, Barrios' coach shared a surprising take on Pacquiao's return. He warned not to assume that Pacquiao got rusty during his time away. He thinks Manny may have stayed in shape quietly, and that the time off may have actually helped his body heal, a rare advantage in boxing. He believes Pacquiao's sharp performance shows he never really stepped away. While many are excited about his comeback, others believe this fight shouldn't be happening. Critics argue that bringing back retired stars for big paydays can damage their image and hurt the sport. They say Manny has already accomplished everything and doesn't need to risk his legacy by taking on a young, active opponent.
So Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title is being targeted for late July in either San Antonio or Las Vegas on Amazon Prime. And Pacquiao is currently in a Senate campaign in the Philippines in May, but after that he wants to return in the summer for a world title and try to break his own record as the oldest welterweight champion at 46 years old. Now I have every issue in the world with this. Manny Pacquiao, he's my favorite fighter all time, but this is just not great for boxing. Pacquiao's last fight was 4 years ago in 2021 against Jordanis Ugas, and in that fight he looked a lot slower, not as explosive, and he got outboxed. And then last year when he was targeting the Barrios fight, he had an exhibition against the kickboxer Rukia Anpo first, and he looked even slower and even more hittable in that fight. I don't think Pacquiao should be sanctioned to fight a world title fight at 46 years old, and not that Barrios is some scary knockout artist or a pound-for-pound level talent. If there's one champ at 147 that Pacquiao could upset, it would be Barrios. But in all likelihood, Barrios being the younger, bigger guy, he's just going to beat Manny for 12 rounds, probably stop him late. So I just don't want to see the fight. Pacquiao's accomplished everything in the sport. He really doesn't need another fight at 46.